My name is Olubukola, but everyone calls me Buki, and I'm from Nigeria in West Africa.
My name is Oladapo Durojaiye. Short form is Dapo, and I'm from Nigeria.
I went to a boarding school for my high school, which is a secondary school. Well, it's secondary school in Nigeria, but I think they call it high school here. So I went to a boarding school for a few years, for about 4 years. Then I actually came back home, my school locally, until I finished my secondary school, and then I proceeded to the university.
I went to high school in Lagos, Nigeria. After completing my high school education, I went to college in Ogun State, which is the same state of origin my parents are from. So I attended Babcock University in Ogun State. It's a Seventh-day Adventist university.
We're very cultural. We are very friendly. I would say we're very open to people. They treat both foreigners and even the people from Nigeria, we treat people equally. We're very diverse in nature. And when I say diverse, I mean, I'll take Nigeria to be, or Lagos, Nigeria, even Nigeria as a whole, to be like Florida, which is a melting pot. Nigeria has 36 states. However, we speak over 200 languages.
Culture is a very huge part of like who we are as people. So, and definitely when I speak about the culture, I also talk about like even respect, like, you know, like this ethics and values and having like morals and things. These are kind of some of the things that, you know, they instill in you from like a very young age and growing up. And aside that, like just the people, like there's so many different ethnic groups in Nigeria, even though we have 3 major tribes, and just everyone being able to like, like for example, I grew up in Lagos. Lagos has almost 20 million people, and the entire Nigeria is just slightly bigger than Texas. So if you think about Nigeria being a country that has almost 200 million people, the United States has maybe double that. But if Nigeria is just slightly bigger than Texas, then how many people in Lagos State? Like, it's pretty populated, but at the same time, it's a lot of different people there. But it's just everyone being able to work together, just being able to like thrive and succeed in doing the things that, you know, everyone all loves to do. It's a great place, definitely. Like, the food is amazing. The music is the music is awesome. I listen to it every single day, even here. So like, there's just so many things that I think about Nigeria, and I'm like, you know what, Nigeria made me. I love Nigeria, and it's just amazing.
Growing up with my parents was really amazing, and I had my siblings as well, so it was a really small, knitted family, but we were really, really close, and we had a lot of fun together as family.
Growing up with my parents was great. I feel like, you know, it's a privilege, you know, having parents in the first place, because like not everyone has that. Growing up with them, I felt the love. You know, they were very supportive. They trained me the right way. They sent me to school. They knew the value of education, and they wanted to make sure, like, you know, they set us up for success.
We did everything together. Our parents are very much involved in every aspect of our lives from when we were kids. Everything we had to do, we had dreams and goals we share with our parents. Like other kids where you have like best friends and you want to tell your best friend things about you, our parents were our best friends. So pretty much we would go to them. I have this idea in my head. I'm trying to do this. I see this as something I want to do in future. We tend to talk to our parents about it. Another thing is hard work. My parents are very hardworking, and that is something that they've also instilled in me. Like, regardless of what I do in life, where I go in life, I know that my dreams are valid, that I could always attain whatever I set my mind and had to attain. And at the same time, I need to be hardworking. Once you're hardworking and you're dedicated and you have integrity, it may take a while, but eventually the stars will align and things will begin to take shape.
One of the biggest things you could give to your child is not really money, but it's about like knowledge and empowering them, you know, just being able to like send us that path, like being able to go to school and letting us know the values of like, you know, being hardworking, the values of being disciplined, you know, being goal-oriented and things of that nature. I feel like those are some of the things like I say has really helped us thus far, and will still continue to help us because they instilled that from when we were very little.
I'm blessed to have like really amazing parents, and not just me, my siblings and I. My parents had always instilled in us from growing up that you need to have integrity. In whatever you do, wherever you find yourself, always remember that name. Like our last name, Durojaiye, if that name means enjoy the world, but it kind of tells us something different, like wherever that name is being mentioned, people need to look at that name or hear that name, and you're proud that yes, this is it. That name shouldn't be heard in different things that are not ethical, in like places where there is no integrity or places where there's corruption and things like that. So you want people to hear that name and be associated with you. I want to know you, I want to get to know you, I want to be close knitted with you as a family, as an individual. We were in Nigeria at the time. I think I was about to get into the university at the time. I believe I was. My mom had a store, she had a supermarket. So we were in the supermarket when my dad's friends actually came and told us the story of he had an accident. I just saw my mom crying, and and I was pretty young, and I had my siblings as well. My brother Dapo was pretty much, he was like the baby of the family.
When I heard he passed away, I was in my mom's shop. So my mom had like a supermarket, like a shop, and it was there with like my whole family, like me and my sisters and my brother. And my mom was also there, and I think we were eating at the moment too. I think we were like about having breakfast or something. And then we saw like some of his friends coming over, and it was like, oh, look at, I think maybe my brother or one of my sisters, I'm not sure exactly. But one of them was like, oh, see this person. And my mom was like, oh, wow, like these people are here, like, and they came, said they just wanted to come, say hello or something like that. And in the middle of the conversation, I just heard like a scream, like what happened? And it was like, oh, like there was an accident, he passed.
It was very devastating. We couldn't wrap our head around it. What's going on? How did this happen? And at the time, it was just like our whole world was crumbling. Like, what is this? Where are we going from here? How do we? It was just a lot. The most cherished moment is whenever I come back from school and I'm so proud to show my father my result. Like, this is what, because every term, because we had term back in Nigeria, and it's the end of a term, you're going back home to your parents, because I was in a boarding school. Just being able to proudly show my father that I went to school for all this month and this is my result, this is what I came out with. And the joy on his face to know that I am making him proud as a child, and that his money to send me to school wasn't in vain.
I always look forward to Saturday mornings. Only because like weekdays I have school and I have to go to school and he has to go to work, but like Saturday morning is a time when he'll be home. And I remember like sometimes in the mornings I would just be like in the patio with him and we're just talking. It was just one of the things like I really enjoyed, like just being able to spend time with him and just like talk about stuff and laugh about different things. He was very hardworking, and just from like growing up, I always knew like he was always like going about his business, always going to work, always very energetic. He never woke up and really felt like, oh, I don't want to do this. I never saw him like someone who was lazy when it comes to working. I also saw him as someone who was very like generous to people and giving. And I feel like that's one of the things, like that's one of the ways I live my life now. Like I don't attach too much importance to material things. I'm not saying don't work hard or don't get money, but it's like, it's not that serious. Like some of these things I'm just like, it's just money. If I made that, I could make the next one, because I know like I'm gonna put in the work and the efforts to be able to make sure like I'm able to like sustain myself or whatever comes next. We just made you believe like, if you work hard, you could achieve a lot of things, because he really did achieve a lot of things. And he was able to like help his family, make her feel comfortable.
Sometimes I wish he was here today to really see that his kids really made him proud, that all his efforts and everything didn't go in vain.
After he passed, and just knowing like, it was just my mom now, she had to wear two hats of being the mom and being the dad at the same time. And just seeing her work extra hard to make sure like, our families still get to where they need to get to, and always looking out for us, making sure we got trained the right way.
She stood up. She became not just our mom, she became both our mom and our dad. And she really filled the gap, and she did it so beautifully. And every single day, I see my mom. I'm super proud of her, and I'm super thankful for her, for all her hard work, all her dedication to make sure, though her husband passed, but they had dreams, they had goals for their kids, and she didn't allow those dreams and aspirations to just go to waste. She stood her ground and made sure that we were able to achieve those goals, even without our father.
So I want to instill in them to trust God, to believe in themselves, to be hardworking, and to love everyone that they come across. Because when you show love, definitely you have love in return. And believe in themselves, believe in what they can do. When you believe that this thing, I can move mountain, it will be easy for you. So when you trust yourself and believe you can do anything, sky will be your limit.
As much as I knew, like everyone loves to travel or would want to be able to travel to the United States or any other country as well, but it was never really like something I was chasing, like I want to travel to the United States at the time. It was just more about, I'm in college, let me get my college education completed, get a job, start working, start providing for my family and things of that nature. But somewhere along the line, I think it was in my third year in college, my sister reached out one day and said, that she heard about this visa lottery program in the United States that we're gonna apply, that she thinks we should all apply for it. I was just a little like, lotteries, like those are really not my thing. I'm like, what are the odds, right?
It tells you at the end of the application to save the last screen, because if you don't save it, that's what you won't be able to tell if you won when the result is out, which is following year. So we did that and we saved the paper and we kept waiting. Then a year later we heard that the results were out.
When we heard that we could check the results now, so she got on the computer and she was like checking. I was like, don't check mine yet, like check mine last. You have to, because we all applied individually. So I said like, don't check mine yet and everything, because I was like, oh my God, So we checked, like I think my brothers, he didn't get it. We checked my mom, no. We checked my other sister, no. And then we checked hers, Bookie's. And once we checked Bookie's, it was like she won. I was like, oh my God, so exciting. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, let's check mine too.
And we checked and we noticed that myself and Dapo both won. And we just called our mom. She was at the store at the time, and we called her and we're screaming that we won, Dapo and I won. Then we had to read the instructions, what is the next thing. We had to send all our documents and everything we said we had over, and that took another pretty much a few months or a year as well. After all that was sent, then we got an email saying they'll set up us for interview. We need to still go to the embassy for an interview. But Dapa's interview came before mine.
And then when I walked in there, she asked me 2 or 3 questions. It was very brief, and
I went with him. I was waiting outside and just hoping and praying that he gets it. And he came out and he's like, yeah, they gave me my visa and I'm going to go pick up my visa on this day and I'm going to go into America. And mine was a month later. And he came with me as well. He was waiting outside. And when I came out, I was smiling, I was screaming. I'm like, yeah, I got it as well. Then we had to come to the US in July of 2014. I think that was the biggest thing, saying what next, coming here. There was no daddy here, no mommy here, just the both of us. How are we gonna survive? How are things gonna take shape? What do we have to do? What do we need to do? And it was a lot of questions, and we were really thankful for families that we've met. We met families, we met friends in our church. We met a lot of people that were really supportive and just being there for us and really explain what the life here was going to look like. And we just had to take baby steps, aside from getting a job, finding a place and things like that. And within a few months, we pretty much settled in and things gradually started to get better.
I never traveled out of Nigeria before. I moved here permanently, so it was more even though I've heard all the stories and I've heard, in America this or in the UK that, I haven't really experienced it. So it's what would it be like? Just moving away from, I'll say, everything I've known, my friends, my family, what I've been used to, growing up. So I think for me, it was just more what would it be like so many uncertainties. But at the same time, I'm you know what, this will determine the rest of your life. So go for it, it's a great opportunity. Anyone would love to be in your shoes right now. So take it, embrace it, and just run with it. It was a lot of adjusting, being responsible, knowing I had to get a job, I have to work. It was my first time really working. Making a living for myself, being able to support myself, my family. So it was a lot of different things, a lot of learning, but I had a really great, I would say, support system at everywhere I've worked. My church, friends that I got to meet here, and everyone just family. I stayed with my uncle when we moved here originally for about 4 months.
When we just got to Florida, it was a bit hard because now we're no longer with family, even though we were comfortable where we were, but we just felt we wanted to be on our own, wanted to really start our lives, and just really understand the system, understand the United States. And we came to Florida because we did our research and we knew that we could get jobs here, we could pretty much start our life.
One day I was on Twitter and I saw pages you should follow, and it came up with Wells Fargo careers as a suggestion. So I was like, oh, Wells Fargo. So I looked at it. I was like, oh, great. And then I tweeted at them. I was like, I would like to work for Wells Fargo. And I mentioned them. And then I just sent out a tweet and that was it. So I think it was the next day or maybe some hours later, I'm not exactly sure when now, they responded to me and say, go here and apply. And I was like, oh wow, like I didn't even think they would respond.
It came to me, it's like, oh, I just got a reply from a bank I saw I'm trying to get a job with, and they told me to go and apply. Where's the laptop? We had one laptop at the time, so he got the laptop and he made the application. And I think the next day, I came back from, I think I went out and I got back, it's like they just sent me an email for a job interview in 2 days. I'm like, wow, they did that? Where's the laptop? I need to apply right now.
A lot of them that come in, they're there just to get a paycheck. She wanted more than that. She wanted to give back to her peers, her coworkers. She wanted to give back to her customers. She had a strong personality as of who I want to be in the future, and I'm gonna work hard to achieve that.
It was a part-time job with 20 hours each. So it felt like both of us doing 20 hours, that makes like one person's paycheck. So it was pretty hard trying to like work together, pay our bills. So that was pretty much the hardest part of our lives.
It was a lot to like get used to, but at the same time, just knowing like, you know, you were not the only one going through it alone. I think you find some type of, you know, strength from there, knowing like I'm not in this alone, like this, we're gonna make this work. I'm here with my sister, we're gonna make this happen. We have these dreams, we have these goals, and we're gonna be able to accomplish them.
Both got promoted the same week. Then within 3 months, I got promoted to a retailer, and my brother also got promoted. It's like every time I'm calling and telling him, oh my God, you just promoted me. It's like, oh, the following day or next or a few days later, he's also telling me he got promotion. So I think it's just God really being there for us and just helping us, and also our hard work.
When it was time to go to college, I had my bachelor's degree in biochemistry because at the time, the university that I went to, they hadn't started the medical program there yet, but they were like, we were gonna be like the pilot group for the medical program. So we're gonna get this pre-med in biochemistry and then, you know, phase into the medical school at the time, which was what I did. So I did the biochemistry for 4 years, I graduated. It was a year after I graduated that I moved to the United States. After a couple years, I decided, you know what, now I got to like what I do at the bank. I really did love it. I got to like the finance part of things, and I'm still like, you know what, I still love healthcare. So I started researching like how am I able to like kind of like transmit both skills that I've learned. I mean, I'll say transmit the skills I've learned from, you know, the financial world and being able to work in the bank for about 4 years before I left, to being able to like still work in healthcare and still be able to work and go to school. So I had like different things I was trying to like make sure I was able to accomplish. And then I found a program that I actually ended up studying at Barry University, which is the Masters in Health Services Administration and Public Health. And while I was considering, like I'll say other schools, like, you know, should I go here, should I go there? I think what really stood out for me was one, that it was a dual degree program. So I'm like, I'm getting 2 master's degrees instead of 1, almost the same time, maybe like 2 semesters more.
One thing that made me actually come to Barry as well and start my master's at Barry was because of Dapo. He did the same program that I did, and he started research the school. He would tell me, I went to this school today, this is what I feel. And we'll just talk about the school, and he started the program. And every time he's talking about the projects that he's working on and the way he tries to analyze it and get the projects done, it just interests me. And I started to ask questions, and before I knew it, a few months down the line, I'm also in the program. One of my favorite professors, Dr. Reader, he happened to take my very first class, and the way he taught, the way he explained to us, and it was just very much interesting. You could tell that he's genuinely interested in making sure you succeed.
They came to this program being relatively shy, not knowing what to expect, not understanding all they needed to know about graduate school or health administration. But both Bucky and Dapo had this similar qualities in terms of coming to class early, being very engaged, asking a lot of questions, working with their teams in group projects, over time showing leadership qualities, thinking about the future, working hard and becoming excellent students. So there was just this progression of improvement on a continual basis, to the point where they were both achieving so many wonderful things, both in the class and as well as in the community, that there was no question in my mind they both would be very, very successful.
When you study at Barry, like the classes, the curriculum is very it's intensive. Like you learn a lot. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm in class, but yeah, we do tests, we do group assignments, we do individual assignments, projects, we write different papers, we do research. So just being able to work with these different students, and every class is like, I was taking 2 to 3 classes every semester. So just being able to work with like different types of students on different like projects, very diverse classrooms, and it was just awesome. The professors really made a difference as well.
We didn't really have a regular day for me, because I was working and going to school at the same time. At the time, I was taking 3 classes a semester and working full-time, so it's pretty much intense for me. So I really didn't have that Barry social life. That's something I wish I did, but I really didn't have that. It was more of just making sure I kept coming to my classes, taking a few time off, coming to meet with my group mates and just working on projects together, or we have a test. I try to take a few hours off work to quickly run here, go to the library, study, come in, take my exam.
By her going to Barry, she was even more, the more she went, the more she came back with more information and said, hey, I can do this. I want to do this. They taught me this. I thought this was this and this. Or the professor said, is there a better way that you can do it in that sense? So she was excited about going. She even spoke to some of us about going there and telling us about the good programs that they do have there.
I'm Dr. Velis. I'm the professor and a program director for the health management programs within the College of Nursing and Health Sciences here at Barry University. Dapo and Bucky took several courses with me. One course was applied biostatistics, and the other was epidemiology course, research-related courses, and they both excel in all of these courses. They are really excellent students and excellent people.
Every of my professors I had great relationship and interactions with, but it's just like, because Dr. Reader happens to also be a program advisor, so I kind of had that closeness with him, and Dr. Velis as well, who happens to be the program director. And also we had Dr. Collins, one of our professors as well. All the professors will teach you based on what is happening, the real life scenarios. We will take case studies of real hospitals. We take that problem, we talk about it in class, we analyze it as leaders, or if you are the COO or if you are the CFO, what will you do differently? How will you handle this? And just being able to come together as team members to analyze those scenarios and come up with suggestions of what we will do, that kind of helped us and prepared us mentally for questions like that. Instead of us working on things that are not relevant to us, then we get to the real world and we are like, what's going on here? They didn't teach me this in school.
They will teach me to the point that I will walk into any interview and know, like, I'm be confident in my abilities that, you know what, I went to Barry, like I'm equipped for this role, I'm qualified for this role, and I'm definitely ready to get it. During my program at Barry University, in one of the classes, like Dr. Rita talked to us about like being members of the ACHE, which is the American College of Healthcare Executives. It's like if you want to be a healthcare executive, you have to be a member of the ACHE, go to these networking events, meet with industry leaders, you know, get real life feedback, scenarios and things like that. Like just being able to have mentors in the industry as well, just not like the classroom and not just your professors, like actually people who are also in the field that you're trying to go into, you could get a lot of benefits from it. I became a student member of the American College of Healthcare Executives, and definitely, like, I met a lot of good people there. People who are like CEOs of hospitals across South Florida, CEOs and CEOs. Where am I on a normal day going to meet a CEO and have a conversation with a CEO of a hospital or the chief operating officer of a big health system like, say, Jackson or Memorial? Like, I'm not going to bump into them on regularly, but just being a part of the organization and making myself very useful, because I became not just a member, I started to volunteer on the board and just making sure I put my name out there.
I met Buki and Dapo in 2018. It was during the course of the annual Healthcare Leadership Development case competition that the chapter holds. And I know Dapo at that time was participating with other members of his team. He was actually the captain to represent Barry University in the case competition. So he did reach out to me, first of all, to inquire about the case competition, kind of learn what it was about, and then decided to participate. And that's how I met Dakwo. Buki, on the other hand, I met in the same year, but at a different event. It was actually the awards event for the case competition. She came to support her brother, and that's how he introduced me to her. When I first met Dakwo, I was just struck by how personable he really was. Had a great presence and presentation about him. You could tell he was just poised for leadership, but it was just how personable he was. That really struck me. But also he had a very inquisitive mind. He wanted to become a part of ACHE. He wanted to learn more about healthcare. He's in the healthcare management program at a great university. So I think that ability to ask for counsel and ask for information to enhance his professional life struck me as someone that, you know what, this is a person that I would love to mentor for sure. Buki, on the other hand, also had similar qualities. Buki just had a quality of perseverance about her, wanted to learn quite a lot about healthcare, wanting to participate and become an active member of the ACHE organization, and really immerse herself in healthcare was what struck me about her. So I saw a lot of commitment and dedication there on her part.
When I went to one of the ACHE event, they had a networking event, and I met someone at the time, and it was talking to us with one of the hosts, and it's like, oh, I did a fellowship, and because someone asked him a question like, how are you so young and you just finished your master's and you're already like a C-suite executive in healthcare? And this guy was like, oh, I did a fellowship, and that kind of opened the door for me. Then during the networking session, I met someone else I was trying to network with. And he's like, I'm like, oh, what did you do? He works at Jackson. I'm like, you work at Jackson, what did you do? Or what do you currently do? And he's like, oh, I did a fellowship. And after my fellowship, I had this position, and now I'm one of the C-suite leaders. And I'm like, what is everyone keeps talking about fellowship. Like, what is a fellowship? So he's like, oh, you need to do a particular type of master's degree. It's the body where you could actually apply. And told me it could either be in health administration, health service administration, public health, business administration, and things like that. Pretty much where when you start the fellowship, it's an administrative fellowship where they pretty much train you, help you to become a leader in healthcare. So you work on projects, on real life scenarios.
This whole time I was still working in banking. So I'm like, I'm trying to switch from banking to healthcare. You know, it's a lot of learning. I don't have all this experience in healthcare. Fellowship is gonna give me the exposure I need. I get to work on different projects, work closely with senior leaders in the C-suite, which is like ultimately the goal for me, to become a C-suite executive as well. So just knowing I'm able to like work closely with these people, be mentored by them, work on different projects, get different exposures in different areas. Because healthcare is very like this, is very broad, right? But as an administrative fellow, you get to work like currently, like I'll say I've worked on at least like 10, 12 different projects with different departments, which gives me different exposure in these areas, like what did they do here? Oh, being able to, what kind of value can I provide for them here? So I definitely I got interested after knowing Jeremy mentioned it to me, my friend during the internship, and also knowing from school, but Dr. Rita also mentioned the fellowship and what it could help you as regards your career trajectory. So I think my mind at that point was just locked in, I'm trying to get into a fellowship program after grad school.
It's extremely difficult and it's challenging. And what you're doing is you're completing an application and sending in information about yourself, and you're competing with literally hundreds of very, very good students from programs and universities around the country.
There's people who tell you oh, we do this as a course in my school. They actually teach us one semester preparing for applying for fellowship. So it's no joke. And then the application process, I had to write my personal statement, get my resume organized. They had different questions. But for me, as much as there were a lot of hospitals where you can always apply to, I try to narrow it down to which hospitals actually align with what I'm trying to do. And then going through the actual interview process wasn't easy. I had for example, at Mount Sinai, I had a phone interview. I think I had a Zoom interview as well. And then I actually had an in-person interview in New York, which I had to fly down to. It was I had an interview itinerary, it was a lot. It was I think about 6 hours I was there. The actual interview with the C-suite executives was about an hour, a little over an hour, I would say.
After the application, you get an email saying, congratulations, you've been shortlisted to go to the first round of interview, which would be like was a FaceTime interview with the fellows, the current fellows. So we did an interview, they asked you questions, and they shortlist people. Then I went to the second stage of interview where it has to be with senior leaders. So some senior leaders would interview you. The second stage of interview happened to be I had to fly down to the hospital in Charleston, South Carolina, where we interviewed with senior leaders, the CEO of the health system, the CFOs and the COOs. It was an all-day affair, and we had a lot of people in the room there for the same position. So it was pretty much intense, and we're all looking at each other trying to, oh my God, you're gonna get selected? Am I gonna get selected? So just having a lot of people in the same room with you, knowing you're all here for the same thing, could be intimidating sometimes. But at the same time, just knowing that you know where you're going, you know why you're there, and just holding your head up high, like I know I got this, and I know I'm very confident of just giving my best and just going all the way and giving your best. And I did that, and the following day, after I flew back home, I got a call saying they want to send me to the Florence location, but the leaders in Florence want to interview me. So that was over the phone as well, via Zoom. So I did an interview for that as well.
I was there from like 9 o'clock till like 3:30. And you know, just leaving there, coming back to Florida, just made me feel, oh my gosh, like how will this go? Plus I heard I heard during the interview, like, you know, I was actually the last candidate they were interviewing. So I'm like, oh my goodness, like, man, I hope this goes well. They've interviewed people before me. But at the same time, like, I just focused on my interview, right? Like, I'm just focused on this is why I'm here. This is what I'm hoping to accomplish. This is all about me right now. This is my time to prove myself. And that was how I looked at it. And, you know, I had the interview, flew back the same day. The next morning, I got an email.
He could not believe what had just happened, right? He's just secured a fellowship.
Just seeing that it actually happened is just another one of the many goals that I had, that I feel like, you know what, another thing I really did accomplish and checked off my list at the point. So definitely I was very excited, and I couldn't just believe it. I'm like, wow, like I was just like screaming. I was so happy. Like there's a lot of emotions in there.
I was screaming. I was really excited because I know it was really tough. It's like a dream come true, and I know that. And the most important thing for me was I know that I'm going to be learning a lot, and I'm always open to learning. I'm super excited to learn and really understand the healthcare system, because I really truly want to impact people's lives. And I know that this will really give me the opportunity to really truly impact lives in a positive way. So that I'm excited about. So I was really grateful. I was screaming, I was saying thank you so much. I'm really grateful. I can't wait to start, because I know that they have someone amazing coming to their team, and at the same time I look forward to joining the team and just helping and making things get better for everyone.
For the brother and sister to be selected for these two prestigious fellowships says something about their character, their ability, not only their academic credentials, their scholarly work, but their dedication to their craft, their experience, their decency, their knowledge, the challenges that they faced, and their great potential, and the fact that they are wonderful human beings who deserve the best. And they should be proud, and we should be proud.
The staff loved him so much until this day that, you know, when he said he was going to leave, and I always said to him, whenever he came to my office, he's like, Miss Keisha, I want to talk. I'm like, are you giving me your resignation letter? He's like, no, Miss Keisha, I'm not giving you my resignation letter. You know, just explain this to me. That, you know, I said it so much that when he actually was coming to give me his resignation letter, it was not a surprise, because I knew, because his zeal, his passion to grow and learn more. And I'm surely we're going to miss him, but we were happy for him and excited for him. And it gave the staff the push to step outside of their comfort zone and say, I want to do better. I want to grow. I want success. I know that this is not just this is not just it. There's more to it. There's more to healthcare than just registration. And so it brought the staff to tears when he was leaving. And in my 7 years of being there, I've never seen one of my staff cried when a teammate was leaving.
From the time she got there, she would always say, I just don't want to make myself happy. I want to make other people happy, and not just happy. I want to do what's right for others. So that has always been a big dream for her to do, to lead others and to work and get along well with others.
Do you think she will get it?
Yes, I think she will get it. Buki will achieve that because she has a drive and she has a passion for it.
What I have learned from Buki and Dapo is that there is no obstacle too huge for you not to attempt to surmount. And when you think about Buki and Dapo and their personal stories and coming from a different country, coming from a different industry into healthcare, they have achieved quite a bit in a short period of time. And I've seen them through the day-to-day activities, not struggles per se, but just the things that they had to do, like the hard work that it requires, the perseverance, the commitment to show up, perhaps to be the last person to leave, to volunteer when no one else would. All of those things is, I think, what's got them to where they are. And it wasn't an easy path. So those two have taught me, like, no matter what you're facing, you've got to give it your best shot and then let the chips fall where they may. And that's what I learned from those two in particular, and I do apply that to my life. I very little that I'm afraid of. I will try, but to be comfortable, even sometimes with not necessarily succeeding immediately or partial success, those are amazing because what matters is that you give it a shot.
I see their names known all over, not only in America, but all over the world. Because I believe it shall come to pass because they are really working and they know what they want for themselves. So, when you know what you want for yourself, you can get to anywhere.
Years from now, if I look back and I think about how far I've come and people that have helped me get there, if I get to address all of them in maybe one room or in a session, the first thing I'm gonna just tell them is thank you. You didn't have to, and it wouldn't be a bad thing if you didn't, but just for giving me a chance. Getting hired in the fellowship program is because the senior leadership on Mount Sinai believed, you know what, let's give him a chance, and it's just always been like someone believing in me. And definitely it doesn't end there because someone can believe in you, but you have to put in the work too. So I feel like for me, Barry was just amazing and was a blessing because I was able to learn so much, not just in the program, but also learn so much about all the competition is even out there from my professors and just getting the skills. Some of them will give you advice. And from alumni, just looking at it now, I would say Barry equipped me, definitely, because now just you could be in school all year, but it's when you go into the global space and try to compete for jobs or try to go to these interviews, and it's all down to what experience do you have, what do you know, what can you do, and you've been able to speak to some of those things that you were able to learn from your graduate program and be proud of yourself, definitely this is what I've been able to do and this is the value I could provide by virtue of the education I received here at Barry. I think that definitely sets me apart.
What I'm doing now, it was once a dream of, I really want to do this, I hope to do this someday, and this is happening. So I'm a firm believer of dreams that if you could think it, you could do it. One thing my dad always said to us, your dreams are valid, never forget that. No matter what you set your mind and your heart to do, you could achieve whatever it is. It may be rough, you may meet bumps along the way. And my brother Daph always says something if you try to shoot for the star, you land on the moon, you still keep going. So pretty much, I just know that dreams are real, dreams are valid. Just believing, you have to first believe in your own dreams. Because if you don't believe in your dreams, it's just a dream. But if you believe in your dreams and you work towards achieving your dreams, then your dreams become a reality and they become valid.